नित्यानन्देश्वरसमारम्भां नित्यानन्देश्वरिमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome all the devotees, disciples, Samajis, Satsangis, Srimahans, Mahans, Tanedar, Kotari, visitors, viewers, participants, everyone sitting with us all over the world through Nityananda TV, Sadhana TV, Lotus TV, and two-way video conferencing, having Nayana Diksha, all the cities sitting with us, having Nayana Diksha in two-way video conferencing, Singapore Adinam, Houston Adinam, Bidadi Nityananda Nagara, Charlotte Adinam, Bangalore North, New York Varanasi, Hosur Adinam, London Southwest, Hyderabad Adinam, Kuala Lumpur Adinam, Surrey Center, Guadalupe Adinam, Toronto Adinam, Ohio Adinam, New Zealand Adinam, Hyderabad Guptakashi, Bogota Colombia, China, Porterville, Toronto Canada, San Jose Adinam, St. Louis Adinam, New Zealand, Wellington New Zealand, Charlotte Adinam, London Southwest, and some more cities. I welcome all of you with my love and respects. As you all know, I have to introduce Kathopanishad today. Already the Shiva Bodha, the joy of being Shiva, the bliss of being Shiva is overflowing beyond this. And among all this, now I love to introduce Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad in the land of Vishwanatha, Kalabhairava. Kathopanishad is the last 8 sections of Taittiriya Samhita, Krishna Yajurveda. It is 119 verses. When Sri Ramachandra lists all the 108 Upanishads in Muktikopanishad to Hanuman, Rama lists this Upanishad as a third Upanishad. The main subject of the Upanishad is death. Even though I have spoken many times bits and pieces of this Upanishad, here and there, I have quoted this Upanishad. I used this Upanishad to explain the truths, sacred secrets behind death. In many of our programs, satsangs, but now, formally, systematically, I have to introduce this Upanishad. It looks too big. I'm just wondering. It is like I have to chisel the whole mountain using a small chisel and hammer. Where will I start? How will I continue? It is just using my small words. Now I will have to describe and introduce this whole Upanishad. Please understand, I'll try to introduce. This Upanishad is not commandment of somebody who realized God. No. Even if you realize God, a little bit will be your enlightenment experience, little bit will be your brain masala. There is a possibility for corruption, misrepresentation, manipulation, or missing it. So understand, but this Upanishad is the direct word from the being who is the Lord of death. Understand? Lord of death. This is directly from him. These Upanishads are directly from him who is Lord of death. Don't even have a doubt about the authenticity of the Upanishads, especially this Upanishad. I am the witness for the authenticity of this Upanishad. And I experienced the sacred secret of this Upanishad in this very land, Varanasi. It is the first and foremost document about death, where Dharma Raja, Yamadharma Raja, Yama means natural flow of existence. Dharma means natural law of existence. Yama means natural flow of existence. Dharma means natural law of existence. Yama Dharma, who is embodiment of natural flow and natural law. Understand? Flow is spontaneous, law is systematic. He is Lord of both. That is why he is called Yama Dharma. Natural flow of existence and natural law of existence. How anything flows by its very nature, that is Yama. What is the law of the natural flow of life? That is Dharma. Lord of natural flow of existence and natural law of existence, Yamadharma Raja directly speaks to a Brahmin kid, Nachiketa, who is the hero of this Upanishad. And one of the greatest thing, this Upanishad is kept alive by the Shaivites. Understand? The subtle nuances and the communal feelings. Yamadharma is a Shaivite, is beyond the jati, Nachiketa is a Brahmin. A Shaivite teaching Brahmin is almost like a Kalabhairava removing the head of a Brahma, Veerabhadra removing the head of the Daksha. But still, the Upanishads survived beyond the subtle community fights which goes on for ages. This Upanishad is taught by a person who is most mysterious and most available. Please understand. Who is continuously experienced can never be mysterious. Who is mysterious can never be experienced continuously. But he is the only one who is continuously available, perceived, but continues to remain as mystery. That is death. Understand? Who is continuously perceived will never be a mystery, can never be a mystery. Who is a great mystery can never be continuously perceived. Here is the greatest paradox. Constantly available, perceived. Any moment, anywhere, anybody can perceive him. Anybody who perceives becomes body. Constantly experienced, perceived, especially in this great land. Largest cremation ground in the world is Manikarnika Ghat. Please understand. Largest in the world, not in India, in the world. Anything related to human numbers, if you are successful in India, it is the largest. Because this is the largest population. That is why any movie star, any celebrity, any guru who has a large following in India can straight away use the word largest in world. As far as anything related to human being numbers concerned, largest number of people visiting temple in India is the largest temple in the world, because nowhere in the world so many people are going to visit any temple. Anything related to human beings, human number, if it's largest in India, it's largest in the world. Whether you're having a largest follower in the Twitter, Facebook, you are a celebrity with the largest number of fans, you are a guru with largest number of disciples, you are a political party with the largest number of members, whatever. If it's a human being, human number related issue, if it's largest in India, it's largest in the world. Be very clear. There are few things special to India. The granite, stone work. Largest granite building in India is the largest granite building in the world. Largest stone structure in India is the largest stone structure in the world, because no other country works on stone so much. Let's come to the Kathopanishad. This land, largest cremation ground, average 350 bodies are burnt every day. On special days, I don't know how they call that special days. It goes even up to 500. Who knows when that special day and all. Largest cremation ground. Here very casually while you are walking in the road, you can see 4 people carrying. If you see anything little bigger than suitcase, please understand it is a dead body. In Varanasi, anything you see, 4 people carrying or 2 people carrying, little bigger than suitcase, covered completely with the cloth, be very clear it is a dead body. The other day I saw, they nicely unloaded near a tea shop, chai shop, and both of them are sipping a chai. And that fellow is lying there. Very comfortably, both of them are sipping the chai. After the chai, very religiously, they lifted the body again, started walking. Constantly happening, perceived, but still mystery. Most mysterious. Even if you see so many dead bodies again and again and again, continuously, not just some unknown face, even the people who are so near and dear to you, who lived till yesterday with you, till few hours before with you, whom you think you know thoroughly about them, even when they experience, it continues to remain as a mystery. Not only that, you are not even allowed to think, contemplate, question this mystery. By the time you have a third, fourth thought about the death, something comes and diverts you. This is the greatest delusion of human beings. These stupid fellows went up all the way to Mars and trying to explore it. I am talking about the whole humanity. Trying to analyze, name stars, galaxies, planets, but still not only does not have knowledge, is not even working sincerely to look into the direction of death. Who is this guy who is constantly playing amidst us and never lets the limelight fall on him? He is the greatest magician, Jadugar, constantly playing amongst us, picking up the people as he wants and swallowing them, playing, running riot, not only over our lives, even on our intellects. But still, none of us are able to even look into him. We have penetrated planets. We have penetrated stars, penetrating the galaxies. We have done so much. But still this guy who is constantly running around among us, who is constantly playing amidst us, not only remains mystery, is not even letting any of us look into his eyes. Those very few who dare to look into his eyes, who have decided not to get distracted or diverted by his magics and drama, those very few became Buddha and Shiva. All Buddha did is only one thing. When he saw the death of somebody, he decided to look into the eyes of the death. Who are you? Till I know, I am not going to move out of it. This is my first priority. But did you see the funny thing? He had 3 questions. Why old age? Why sickness? Why death? He found the solution, but still all the 3 remains in the world. Even now, there is old age, there is sickness, there is death. Then, how do you say he has discovered the solution? Maybe he found the solution for himself. It means every one of you have to look into the eyes of the death. Look into his eyes when he is staring at somebody else. Don't wait to look into his eyes till he stares at you directly. When he is staring at somebody else, it's very easy to stare into his eyes. Yamadharma was staring at the old man, so Buddha easily stared into his eyes. So, jump into the death, dive into the death to discover the secrets of death when he is staring at somebody else. Don't wait till he comes to stare at you. That time you may not be able to stare back at him. Fools are those waiting for him to come and stare at you directly, then planning to stare back at him. No. Stare into his eyes. Demystify him. Try to decode him. Understand him. When he is staring at somebody else. Means before he turns his eye into you, start staring at him. If you start staring at him first, then if he turns his eye towards you, that eye will be most compassionate. If you are waiting for him to stare at you and then start staring at him, it will be terrorizing. Understand who makes the first step. Are you going to stare at him first, or are you going to wait till he's coming to stare at you? Is staring, whether it is going to be compassionate or terrorizing, is going to be decided based on who is first. Kala is going to decide whether Kala is going to be compassionate towards you or terrorizing you. Kala is going to decide whether he is going to be compassionate towards you or terrorizing towards you. Don't wait. Don't wait for him to stare at you first. It is foolishness to wait for him to stare at you, then to look back, stare back. No. Yamadharma the most compassionate teacher dimension of him is expressing in this Upanishad. You will be surprised. First ever recorded history, Yamadharma giving a boon, especially completely opposite to his profession, giving life. Come on. Actually, I discovered this mind by working with so many people. I had a goldsmith who was making jewels for all our deities. 1 sovereign gold that time was around 25,000 rupee. Few years before. If you actually ask him for the discount of 25,000 rupee, he will not say no at all. He will simply agree even up to 50,000 rupee. But if you ask him to reduce half a gram in his wastage, he will get agitated so much. He will all be worked up, stressed up. Because he measures life based on the amount of gold, not based on money. So his logic doesn't come there at all. For him, wealth is all about the metal, precious metal, gold, that's all. Person whose only life source is a Goshala, if you take away the money which he accumulated, he won't suffer that much. But if you take away even 2-liter milk, that's it. He will pour 2-liter water from his eyes. Same way, a farmer, just few bags of paddy or rice getting destroyed, over. He feels his life is destroyed. With anything you work, constantly deal with, you emotionally get attached to it and you feel the value of that much more than the regular society values. The sentimental value. Here, Lord, who always took, never gave, Lord of death, only when his job was threatened, he is bent for Markandeya and for Savitri. There are such rare exemptions. But here, nobody is threatening him. Just out of compassion, he is giving the life back to Nachiketa. He is not a terrorizing figure. See him here. A loving, compassionate teacher. I think in the whole history of humanity, this is the only book where it is recorded Nachiketa is able to make death respect him. And this is the only time death ever listened to somebody. I don't think Yamadharma has ears. Because if he has ears, if he starts listening, what will happen? Millions are constantly crying whenever he goes for a job. If he has ears, what will happen? How will he be able to do his job? No. Uncompromising. Uncompromising. He is Lord of Yama, natural flow of life, and Dharma, natural law of life. Coming down as a teacher as a compassionate God and blessing a Brahmin kid. It's actually an unknown dimension of Yamadharma. This book is book of death for Hindus and anybody who follows Vedic tradition. If you want to know about death, this is the book. It is not just book of dead, book of death. Vedic book of death. The beauty with death is you have to look into his eyes. Nobody else can do it for you. It's a good news. And great news is, in this way, you are utterly free. When you don't have any bondage, commitment, assistance, support, you are free. You are completely free. Understand, first time you will feel utterly free, naked, nirvana with Yamadharma. First time you will feel the liberation when you stare into his eyes. I tell you the secret. It is always easy to stare at somebody who is so powerful into his eyes when he is looking at something else. Stare at him. When you are staring at him, naturally his attention will be diverted to you. If you are already staring at him and his attention gets aligned to you, it will only be compassionate and asking, what? What do you want? If you are waiting for him to come and stare at you and then stare back at him, you say, shut down. When your time has not come for him to shut your eyes, decide to stare at him. When your time has not come, even he cannot shut your eyes. Understand the secret. When your time has not come, even he cannot shut your eyes. And don't wait for your time to come where he will be staring at you. If you tries to stare back at him, he will say, shut. Because then decision is in his hand. I tell you, stare at anybody's eyes. In 2 seconds you will understand the beautiful, compassionate, the Pashu-like personality inside them. Whether it's a death itself, if you know how to stare into his eyes, you will discover, awaken the teacher, master, dimension of death. Of death. Maybe for this whole inner awakening, I'll be just introducing Kathopanishad. Because I have to introduce the author, and his different dimension expressed in this Upanishad. I have to introduce the listener, and I have to introduce the context This Upanishad has a beautiful story which sets the context. I spoke so many number of times on this Upanishad. Still, the moment it sits on my tongue, it tastes so sweet. It tastes just much more than a nectar. Death becoming nectar, only in this Upanishad it can happen. Talking about death can be so pleasant only in this Upanishad. Thinking about death can be so pleasant only with Kathopanishad. Talking about death can be so sweet only in Kathopanishad. Thinking about death can be so pleasant only in Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad. Even if you understand it intellectually, all the death fears will disappear. First quality for a Hindu is understanding the mystery of death. First and foremost quality for a Hindu is understanding the mystery of death. The first and foremost commandment for Hindus, listen, as an incarnation, as authority on Hinduism, I am giving this commandment. The first commandment, foremost commandment for the Hindus is, thou shalt not die. Thou shalt not die. That's the first and foremost commandment for all Hindus. Fools are those who die. Stupid are those who never thought about death while they are alive. First and foremost commandment for Hindus, thou shalt not die. Understand death beyond the frustrated poet's descriptions, constipated philosophers' discrepancies, brain-dead intellectuals' blah blahs. Beyond all this, the Lord of Death is directly taking the questions about death from a small kid. The story has a lot of significance. He is able to explain it even for a small kid means there is no prepositions and suppositions. Understand? Anything which has become realization without prepositions and suppositions, that is the only universal truth. These modern day Western mathematicians and stupid scientists, they developed so many stupid theories and formulas and put one constant or infinity which has no value. Then what do you mean by this formula? Your theory, formula, everything has no value because you insert somewhere one constant or infinity which can't be described. So these are all the so-called appears like a truth with many prepositions and suppositions. But anything which is truth without prepositions and suppositions are only reality. Please understand. Kathopanishad is reality. And I tell you, even in Vedic tradition, if some prepositions and suppositions get added in course of time, incarnations happen, just to remove them. My only job, only purpose of this incarnation is to remove all the prepositions, suppositions got added or loaded on Vedic tradition. Understand? No preposition, supposition is required for you to realize the truth described by Upanishads. It is reality as it is. That is why a small kid is questioning, who doesn't know and who doesn't care about your prepositions and suppositions. The only time ever in my life I got frightened and ran away is in front of one kid. I have to tell you this story. Never anything could make me run away. After my mission started, one devotee was running a pre-KG and kindergarten school with all the respect and with no pre-planning, innocently invited me to come and bless the school. When I went, I saw those kids, they are already happy and they are just playing among themselves, enjoying. I said, why do you want me to talk to them? They are already happy. What am I going to advise them or bless them? You better call those teachers who are already in sadness. I have a job with them and I will talk to them and help them and try to answer their questions. But she said, no, at least say a few words, bless them, Swamiji. See, most happy people are most unpredictable people. You need to know that. And you don't know what they will do when they will do. And they are dangerous. You can't handle them. So I tried my best to refuse, but she is not ready to budge. She's a real woman. And that gives enough of introduction and sets the context. Nothing more need to be told. And finally, the man who is doing Rangarajya all over the world, who can sit in any stage and collapse the people just by the twist of the tongue, make anybody realize anything just by the twist of the tongue, was wordless standing in front of those few kids because they do not understand any preposition, suppositions. Understand? Knowledge, the play of knowledge can be done only with the preposition and supposition. Experience does not need that. To transmit the experience, you don't need that. Here, I am asked to speak. I can't transmit the experience. Because to transmit the experience, I need at least their yes. Or the people who are responsible giving birth to them, their yes. So I don't have that. I can only play to the level of knowledge. So anyhow, I stood in front of them and my mic, and they do not care about some enlightened being, incarnation. They are all sitting as a small team and they are talking, playing with the language which no one understands, whether a speaker nor a listener understands that language. One fellow was with his candy in his mouth. The other one was trying to drag that candy out of his mouth and put it into his mouth. And this one just gave the finger, and that fellow started licking the finger, forgetting about the candy, because he doesn't bother about candy. He wants something to fill his mouth, that's all. So this drama is going on. I am standing there, a great Vedantic enlightened incarnation. Just in 10-15 seconds, one small kid just moved towards me and started pulling my dhoti. That's all. All enlightenment incarnation would. Vedanta. I ran to the green room. In my life, I never ran in that speed. Now that is the reality. See, there is no preposition and supposition. I tell you, even Yama was made naked by the questions of Nachiketa. This kid only pulled my cloth. Nachiketa pulled the very identity of Yama down. He has to stand naked in front of Nachiketa because he did not get the green room. He was not able to escape into any green room. Without any preposition and supposition. If something can be analyzed and presented, that is reality. That is reality. Here, Yamadharma, Lord of Death, is standing naked without the covering of his inner image, outer image, other's image and life image, just as he is. He removes all the prepositions and suppositions covering death. And brings the naked truth, reality, as it is out in this Upanishad. My mission again is removing all the prepositions and suppositions, added, got loaded on Vedic tradition, and bring the naked truth as it is and make you experience reality. That is the reason I decided to speak on Kathopanishad. I invoke Kala, Gala, Yamadharma, O Mahadeva. Speak through this body, mind, intellect, being, consciousness. Reveal what you want to reveal to the world. Reveal yourself naked to the world. Reveal yourself in nirvana to the world. And let the whole universe, everyone, realize the reality. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। By offering the obeisance to Lord Yamadharma, Lord of Death, invoking his blessings and compassionate teaching, spiritual presence, praying to him. To reveal the sacred secrets of death to the universe through this body, mind, intellect, consciousness and being to the universe. I'll move ahead. We will continue in further satsangs. Yamadharma will continue in further satsangs to reveal the sacred secrets, naked truths of death and reality to every one of us. I bless you all. Let you all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Advaita, the eternal bliss, Nityananda. Thank you. Be blissful.
Nityananda Dhyanapitham, Nityananda Nagar, off Mysore Road, Bidadi, Bengaluru. Phone 08027279999. www.nityananda.org, www.youtube.com/lifeblissfoundation.